Stipulate.
She stipulated that I have to be married by my 30th birthday.
Oratorio.
He first came to public attention with his oratorio, The Whale.
Adamant.
Corporate was adamant we keep running, no stopping operations.
Discredit.
I said it was a story made up by Mr. Pamuk's enemies to discredit him.
Morgue.
We got 7 dead bodies in the morgue.
Democracy.
If we don't vote, democracy will be destroyed.
Coral.
We saw corals and fishes and a turtle.
Pheromone.
A pheromone is a chemical signal from one animal to another.
Ornament.
All the kids are going to decorate the tree with ornaments.
Deport.
As an illegal immigrant, her husband could be deported from the US at any time.
Outgas. Every time they get near the sun and start outgassing, they lose mass.
Chaste.
Make God a promise, right here and right now, that we will remain pure and chaste until marriage.
Tract.
A small torn plastic bag was found in the victim's digestive tract.
Cipher.
So these numbers is a cipher.
Soloist.
There's going to come a time in your future where you need to be the soloist.
Purity.
It was a symbol of virginity and purity.
Notwithstanding.
Legality notwithstanding, why would someone willingly keep these animals as pets?
Seem.
We're doing these things that seem unlikely to succeed.
Protagonist.
I'm clearly the protagonist in your film.
Recruit.
We start by recruiting members, said Hermione happily.
Supplant.
Machines are meant to aid the human mind, not supplant it.
Prolonged.
Britain was fighting a prolonged war in Afghanistan. Bet.
I will bet you $50 you don't even finish the race.
Physical.
I see no evidence of physical injury.
Incursion.
Israel said it was defending the border from a mass incursion.
Metric.
Most people now use metric litres rather than non-metric gallons for volume.
Transplant.
He's gonna need a lung transplant.
Fresco.
These frescoes were painted in the 1430s.
Mission.
It's a military mission on foreign soil.
Expansion.
Even in times of economic expansion, inequality grows.
Spray.
You sprayed Mrs. Dabney with a garden hose.
Tectonics.
Hey, tectonics were also crucial to human history.
Assign.
I used to assign homework to my students at the university when I taught there.
Swell.
My whole toe swelled up like a balloon.
Outlying.
We searched the prison and all the outlying areas. He's not here.
Blink.
You should blink once in a while.
Dialect.
In the local dialect, Pagasa means hope.
Shortly.
The doctor will see you shortly.
Applaud.
The crowd applauded again.
Larva.
The reward is insect larva, rich in protein.
Monastery.
Inside the monastery, one of the monks had a surprise for us.
Bluff.
A player who is bluffing pretends to have the winning cards when he really does not.
Facet.
I will collect every facet of the truth.
Primal.
Fear is the most primal of emotions.
Accomplishment.
What's one accomplishment you're most proud of?
Longevity.
I'm a healthy man. With longevity.
Revolt.
During the 1850s, there were wars and revolts in Europe and Asia.
Subsistence.
France was a society which still lived on the margins of subsistence.
Ceremonial.
Under the existing constitution, the president has a largely ceremonial role.
Seasoning.
Further seasoning is needed once the duck is fried.
Abreast.
The road was scarcely wide enough for two riders to pass abreast.
Pioneer.
ESL Podcast is a pioneer in language teaching podcasts.
Division.
Division of labor. Everyone's got a job to do, so listen up.
Horn.
Over 1,300 rhinos were killed for their horns last year.
Fix.
You fix George's car if it goes wrong.
Ecological.
Opponents warn of an ecological disaster with a high human cost.
Label.
You see the label on the bottle. It's a non-alcoholic beer.
Displace.
40% of jobs in the world will be displaced by technology.
Appropriate.
We'll make those decisions at the appropriate time.
Scientific.
Nothing in your report was based on any scientific fact. Where?
He needs to wear glasses to see clearly.
Myriad.
In many cultures, the word vote can mean a myriad of things.
Apportionment.
The contract defines the apportionment of risks between employer and contractor.
Increment.
You realize that satisfaction comes in increments of minutes.
Stiffen.
Malfoy stiffened and glanced over his shoulder.
Protrude.
Suddenly, he saw something protruding from the ground.
Audition.
Guys, I was not prepared for an audition.
Sexism.
I'm only in high school and I see casual sexism on the daily.
Attentive.
He's listening, right, though? He seems attentive.
Graze.
There was a field where wild horses used to graze.
Transient.
But I won't rely on the transient nature of chemicals for my happiness.
Anguish.
You'd suffer great pain and anguish.
Emancipate.
The gentleman asks, when were the colonies emancipated?
Squander.
We squandered our one chance on you.
Implore.
On my knees, I beg you, I implore you to show mercy.
Sage.
A scented candle? It smells like sage.
Ambiguous.
Well, that's a somewhat ambiguous response. Am I going or not?
Quell.
We were just trying to quell your rebellion before it started.
Vocalize.
He is often reported vocalizing his dislike of other celebrities.
Corollary.
A corollary issue to artificial intelligence is the rise of robotics.
Vulgar.
Well, it's just vulgar to discuss business at a party.
Swirl.
No matter who we are, we all have thoughts swirling around in our heads.
Crime.
You have been discovered at the scene of the crime.
Warp.
It turns out gravity can actually warp space.
Swear.
All the time, I was shouting and swearing at them.
Typical.
Oh, it looks like it might rain after all. Oh, that's typical English weather.
Confirm.
DNA tests confirmed that the two were sisters.
Descent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our descent into Los Angeles.
Gallop.
Suddenly, I heard the sound of wheels and galloping horses.
Erosion.
Trees also help prevent soil erosion and improve groundwater quality.
Scuba.
With tanks of air on their backs, scuba divers are able to dive deep into the sea.
Pertain.
But that no longer pertains.
Bandana.
He had a Jeep and a golden retriever that wore a bandana.
Technological.
Technological and scientific progress will always lead to changes in the society.
Chant.
They cheered and chanted, USA, USA.
Firm.
Yeah, she works at a law firm in New York.
Overview.
It's important to write a clear overview.
Calculate.
To calculate the distance, they count their steps.
Experimental.
Ecstasis is an experimental drug.
Shift.
Harry shifted uncomfortably in his chair.